So one of the questions we really tend to get a lot at MarketPro as we're doing marketing executive searches and really focusing on senior level roles from CMOs to chief digital officers to VP of MarTech, whatever the role might be, right, is how do we go about interviewing marketing talent? And it's a really interesting question because the reality is as soon as we publish this video, it will be outdated. One of the things that we're really looking for in top talent right now is that they're lifelong learners, right? With digital marketing changing as fast as it is, and the pace of change accelerating as we sit here in June of 2019, in the last 5 years has moved incredibly quickly. And the next 5 years is going to move even faster. So now as I'm looking for an executive from a marketing perspective to help my organization grow, help my organization move forward, and really fundamentally give me a competitive advantage in the marketplace, I need to know that they're going to stay up with that pace of change. Because as the CEO, it's not my job to do that, right? It's the CMO's job to make sure they're staying ahead. So that's kind of the critical piece we look for, number one. And so we want to understand within the last 5 years what they've learned, how they've changed their perspective on marketing, what the marketing mix is that they're using today that's different than it was 5 years ago, and ultimately and most importantly, why. And really dig in to understand that not just from a marketing perspective, but from a personal growth perspective, are they someone that's continuing to grow, continuing to develop themselves, and who sees themselves still on the upward trajectory of their career, not someone who's trying to ease into the final stages. So now as we dig a little bit deeper, right, we understand that this person is a real lifelong learner and someone that has deep marketing expertise. We want to understand within the past 5 years as marketing's changed, where they've won and where they've made mistakes and what they've learned, which is actually pretty interesting, right? Because 5 years ago, we would have started at the early part of their career and then walked through that every step of the way to understand what they did to be successful, how they won, why they were promoted, and really dug into each of the transitions. And we still do that, right? That's still a big part of our process. But ultimately, first, I want to know within the last 5 years how they've been successful, because if they haven't been successful during that time frame, I don't need to bother to go back to the beginning, right? So now, within their role today, what are the metrics that they're measured by? Is it increasing conversion on the website? Is it increasing demand gen? Is it driving more MQLs, more SQLs? Is it increasing brand awareness? Everything we do now in marketing can be measured, and I want to understand what were your deliverables, what were your metrics, and how did you exceed them, right? And if you didn't meet them, why not, and what fell apart, and what did you learn? And those are all key things that we're pushing for right now, is understanding the metrics and understanding how that individual drove growth and drove improvement for the organization. Because if they didn't drive improvement before, they won't be able to do that for you. So the next thing we want to understand is how innovative they've been, right? And how they've used technology to push the organization and to push marketing forward in ways that weren't even possible 5 years ago. So that's a really common question for us to ask senior level marketers is, what's something you accomplished in the last 5 years that would not have been possible prior to that time? And how did you learn about it? How did you implement training for your team if it was necessary in order to make that happen? Or how did you make sure you were hiring the right people? Because chances are when they were a junior level marketer, it's not a role they had to do. So they needed to learn enough to hire the right team. And how did they go through that entire process of taking a marketing strategy, a marketing tactic, and ultimately executing against that and winning for the organization when it wasn't even possible more than 5 years ago. One of the other things we really look for as we're hiring marketing executives for our clients is making sure that we've got a fit functionally from a marketing perspective, which is quite obvious. But then we also have to find that fit culturally and find the right leadership style. And when you get all three of those things in a candidate who can help an organization grow, you've done something special, and you don't want to leave any of them out. So right now, the leadership piece is key. And it's a challenge from the perspective that we're in a very candidate-driven market, and candidates have the opportunity, employees have the opportunity to move forward into new roles. And so the CMO or the chief digital officer or someone who's at a VP level from a marketing perspective within your organization really needs to be able to cultivate an environment and a culture on their team where people want to be there, people want to work, and where people are going to be loyal to the organization. So I want to understand as we interview candidates how they've done that before, where they've made mistakes, what they've learned, how they've applied those learnings, and ultimately what leads them to be someone that people want to work for. So as we talk about someone who is a lifelong learner, and we typically in the interview process, it's normal to look backwards, right? And that's just standard, and that's not going to change. We want to know that someone's been successful in the past to give us evidence, right, that they're going to be successful in the future. And that's how interviewing works. But ultimately, I also want to know that someone is thinking ahead, right? So we will ask the question of senior level executives in marketing, what are the changes they see coming in the next year? And how is that going to impact what they do on a day-to-day basis? And ultimately, how can they utilize that to help their organization grow and improve the job that they're doing? And this is really a key differentiator because you'll see top talent will have a great answer for this, be able to articulate to you what's going on, what's possible, what's to come, and how they're prepared for it. And people who we would put into a B player category won't have really thought that through. They may have a few ideas, but they won't be really compelling in their presentation. One of the really key questions to ask a marketing executive is to grade the marketing that you're doing right now, right? So if you're looking for a CMO, ask them what they think of your current marketing today and where they see opportunities for improvement. And what's really interesting is the question is not complicated, right? But ultimately, I want to know that they've taken the time to review it, because if they haven't bothered to take the time to review your marketing as it sits today, then how prepared are they going to be when they walk in the door to start working within your organization? And then I want to know that they can see things for improvement and that they see opportunities for improvement, and that they're going to present that in a way that aligns with our culture, right? Ultimately, there's change management that's going to have to go on for any new senior level marketing leader that comes into your organization, no matter how good your marketing is today. And how they present that and how they engage with those opportunities for improvement will demonstrate a lot about how they fit within your culture. So one of the other keys for us is, what is this person's goals, right? And what surprises us every day is how many people, how many candidates, how many top marketers haven't clearly defined what their goals are for their career. And so there's risk in that, right? If they don't know what they want to do next, how do you know that when they get to your organization, they're going to be happy and want to stay, right? So our goal as we present candidates to our clients is to make sure that they're going to be there for 3 years, right? And when we present a candidate to you, we believe that A, they're going to have a big impact on your business and move it forward and help you grow. B, they're going to be a good fit for the culture. And C, they're going to last for 3 years. And the reality is, I don't believe that we can impact your world much past that. It's going to relate more towards what's going on in your organization. But we want to be comfortable with that time frame in order for us to present a candidate, right? Now, in order for that to happen, we need to know that their goals align with your opportunity. Otherwise, we don't have confidence that they're going to be someone who's there long term. So it's really critical that you ask them what their goals are and how your role fits in with that, and make sure that you have alignment. The real key, as we see now going forward, right, is speed. And what I mean by that is top talent is a definite competitive advantage from a marketing perspective. It's a definite competitive advantage from a growth perspective, and you're not the only one that understands that. So now, once you have candidates and once you engage in a search, it's not acceptable for that search to linger and to take too long. In general, executive search takes too long, right? We're firm believers that we've got to move faster than the market does on that. And the reason for that is it's important that you move faster if you want to get top talent. Now, let's be clear. I do not want to short the process, right? Our process needs to be deep and thorough in our vetting of the candidates. Your process needs to look the same as it does for any other senior executive hire to make sure that you're getting the right talent. However, we need to take steps and make them as close together as possible. So we're taking out time between steps to make sure that we're able to fill this role in 8 to 12 weeks at the C level versus 6 months. That's the average time it takes to hire. If you're taking 6 months to hire a CMO, you're not getting top talent.